So Google is providing two ways to deploy Google Kubernetes Engine inside their services. The first one is standard. They are managing the control plane, so it's a really important part of Kubernetes. And you are managing the node. The node are based on Compute Engine, and this is where your pod is execute. So this one is the standard one. You need to think about your node provisioning, the type of machine that you want to put inside your node pool. And you have to deploy and describe the application with your YAMLs to just deploy the pod inside your node. So we can think about a node pool with GPU, for example, and just deploy our pod inside this dedicated node pool to just run some machine learning jobs, for example, who need very heavy loads in terms of GPU unit. We can think about another different type of node pool. And as a Kubernetes administrator, you need to just be able to choose the right node pool where your application is running. So depends on the use case. And that's why I was talking to you about the trickiness of Kubernetes. This is not just magic. You need to understand the behavior of each component inside Kubernetes. So this stuff, the control plane, is very, 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 very critical. And this is where your database is hosted, the etcd base, the API control plane, all the core component of Kubernetes. So basically, you are charged for the control plane, and you are charged on the price of the node pool and the compute engine that you are adjusting and deploying inside your cluster. Another way is G-key autopilot. And this is not the same behavior in terms of cost management. You are just built for the time consuming inside your pod, CPU, RAM, and disk. Because in Kubernetes, you can have some data persistency. You need to pay the disk as well as the CPU and the RAM. You don't handle the node pool management. GCP is handling it for you. That's pretty cool because you don't need a Kubernetes administrator full-time job. You need strong skills about on Kubernetes for sure, but less skills in terms of infrastructure management because we are talking about node pool and a bunch of parameters that we can trigger on if we are using G-key standard. So Kubernetes autopilot is pretty cool for teams who don't have some very skilled competencies in terms of Kubernetes. And G-key autopilot is pretty cool for development team, for example, and for stateless application, simple web application. I'm going to show you a little bit of Kubernetes. So G-key. With Terraform, just before the show, I just deploy a G-key autopilot cluster. So without any node management. So I have a cluster, and I can't see the node. I don't have access to any node information. And the goal, the purpose of this demo is to just deploy the same website that we just deploy on Compute Engine inside this cluster. So here I have a button that gives me a gcloud command to just be able to connect to my G-key cluster. We were talking about gcloud command. Another command for Kubernetes is kubectl. this famous command. And this is pretty much the same behavior in terms of command line usage. Okay? By the way, GCP resources are running inside a big GKE cluster. The name is Borg. You can just type this word and we're going to send you the white paper. There is a bunch of white paper about this technology. But yes, this is pretty much the same behavior. If you know jcloud command, you know kubectl command, and vice versa. So deploying some component inside the GKE cluster is based on YAML. Sorry. This is funny because YAML is so massive sometimes. And yes, this is an example of an object inside GKE cluster. The name is a deployment. A deployment is based on a Docker image that we want to deploy inside our GKE cluster or Kubernetes cluster. So we have a bunch of information here. And the major thing is that we want to have 2 pods running with our container, the number of the replica. We want to make a rolling update strategy to just have no unavailable pod if we are rolling upgrading our web application. And we have the spec, it's a little bit tricky, to just define the URL of our Docker container, sorry, and some command to just tweak a little bit the demonstration. So if I'm here inside my cluster, I'm doing this command to just list the namespace. Inside the GKE cluster, you have namespaces. Namespaces are the same stuff than project inside GCP. This is a logical isolation to run inside a dedicated space your application. So namespace is pretty much the same of GCP project. All these namespaces are managed by GCP, except one, my namespace with symbol. I'm going to just go inside my namespace symbol with a little command to just choose the namespace by default. And each time I apply a command kubectl, it's going to deploy the stuff inside this namespace. So I'm going to create a duplicate file, a duplicate terminal, and I'm going to watch the number of pods on the right inside my GKE cluster and inside the symbol namespace. So I'm going to create the deployment. On the right, we are seeing the information that, okay, the core component of Kubernetes receive a declaration about the creation of a new deployment. And basically, he's pulling the image Docker and creating some pods. We can see 2 pods, like my replicas was telling us inside the deployment. And yes, we are using autopilot. We don't have any node. So GKE and GCP are creating the node pool for us. And when the nodes are available, my container is in creating mode. So it's basically starting my pods. And when my pods are running, we are pretty much okay. In the meantime, I'm going to create another kind of Kubernetes object with a service. A service inside Kubernetes is just an abstraction, kind of load balancer, to just be able to, in terms of end-user interaction, to be able to route the traffic on each pod. So I'm creating this little component. I'm going to create, I can show you the manifest. If you like YAML, we need to have a drink. But yes, the service is selecting a name in my application with symbol web, with basically the name of my deployment. Everything is YAML, and every magical stuff inside Kubernetes is based on annotation. And yes, this is Kubernetes. We can have another formation on Kubernetes, guys. And the last thing which is very, very cool is this little object with an horizontal pod autoscaler with referencing my famous deployment and with telling us that each time we are reaching 5% of CPU with nothing, but I have to prove you that Kubernetes and magic, and we can have a lot of pod if I'm burning this application, we can reach a max replica of 20 pods. Okay? So cool, I'm going to create this little object because it's funny. I'm sorry, I'm losing a lot with YAML and Kubernetes. Hop. Okay, cool. So my pods are running on the right. And as a developer who is able to reach my Kubernetes cluster and develop container, I can do a little command to just make a kind of tunnel, port forwarding, to just be able to see if my application is running well before to handle another type of object to make it available for all the world. So if I click here, cool, my website is running. But yes, localhost, nobody can reach this application. So that's cool, but I need to create two more objects. The first one is a gateway. A gateway is a load balancer inside GCP. When we are creating a gateway, it's creating a load balancer, as we see just a little bit sooner with Compute Engine, for example, and the managed instance group. And I can show you that here. It was the load balancer who was not very cool. No, it was okay, this one. Okay. Gkey managed. This load balancing service is read-only. It's managed by Gkey. Don't touch nothing on this load balancer. This is fully managed via Gkey services. So I have my service, I have my deployment. As a developer, this is okay. My service is running well. I think I can expose it. And I'm exposing it via another object with an HTTP route. And this is those kind of manifest YAML. And this HTTP route is referencing the gateway and is also referencing the service that I need to expose. Okay? So here, this is the reference to my deployment and my service. So HTTP route, service, deployment. And here the HTTP route is referencing a parent reference with a symbol gateway. I don't deploy it in live with you guys, but if I do a kubectl get gateways, I can see here that I have a gateway, my load balancer, with already deployed because it takes a little bit of time to just make the pipes. Yep.
Can I see my YAML file for this?
For the gateway, for sure. Took. Pretty simple. The only tricky stuff is this one. This is a little bit advanced in terms of Kubernetes, but Google is telling us that if I need to deploy a gateway inside their cluster to have a Google Cloud Load Balancer, I need to put this specification inside my object. So basically, what does it mean? It means that we are deploying an application, L7, the model OZ, layer, the application layer, and this is a global load balancer. We can deploy a gateway with internal, regional, TCP-based, HTTP-based, whatever the flavor of the gateway. You need to understand that the gateway is managed on GCP, on GKE, and is articulated around global load balancer services in GCP.
This name is matching the gateway name in.
Yeah. You see that the gateway class is here. The name of the gateway class is symbol gateway, and in the HTTP route, I'm referencing a parent who is a gateway, who has the name symbol gateway.
No, I mean the class is matching in the. Can you go back to the load balancer? Yeah, this GTE7. Yeah, how did you get this name?
How we? Sorry?
From where you got this name?
The official documentation.
Documentation? Okay.
This is on the official documentation. If I copy paste that on Google, you're going to reach the official documentation on GKE, who is telling us that if we need to expose a component publicly or internally inside our VPC, we have a bunch of class name with an abstraction or managed service with the load balancing. Okay? I can use another class name. This is dedicated to GCP. You cannot copy paste it and put it on AWS. It's not working definitely. This is just the way GCP and GKE is handling the fact that if I want to expose my service outside my cluster, I need to put some class name would I don't choose it. Okay? And yes, I hope, wow. I was surprised I don't have the demo effect.
It depends if your website just prints fault filter abort, then it works.
Fault filter. It was my big HTML. It was just to print a filter abort. Generally, this message is telling us that the gateway is ready, and maybe there are some stuff behind the scene that are implementing by GCP, not by me. So before debugging that, and we don't have the time to debug that. Oh, wow, it worked. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have 2 pods here. Okay, that's the name of the pod. And here we can see that if I'm refreshing the application, oh, second demo effect. I'm reaching the same pod, which is not the normal behavior. Ah, come on. The pipes make a little bit time to be deployed by GCP. Cool. I have 2 pods. Here I have some JavaScript to just push the tempo. This is a load test. I'm using a solution with K6. And I'm going to just burn this web application to see how it works in terms of scalability inside GKE. Just to validate. Okay. K6. Okay. So basically, there are 10,000 users who are reaching the symbol shop, sorry. And I saw 6% of CPU. It's not a normal configuration, but normally, if everything is pretty cool, we're going to see a bunch of pod in a few moments to be created. Yeah.
The time is running out, so I
Oui.
don't think we'll have time to cover everything tonight.
Okay.
The thing that I'm suggesting is, let's take, do you think it is doable to take 50 minutes to checking cloud Cloud Run, Cloud Functions
Yeah.
tonight. Then we'll have the count
Cool.
session, and after that, next session we will continue with everything else.
No worries.
Because we have 6 sessions and 5 modules, so
Yeah, for sure.
you don't want to skip anything.
No, that's perfect. It fits well, guys. So yes, my city is burning. I have a bunch of pod. That's the magic of the elasticity of the cloud. I prefer to do that inside the pod than inside the Google Compute Engine. I can do the same load test with my managed instance group, but it's not the same time to trigger some new pods than trigger some new compute engines. So, cool. Stop. So, this is good, this is good, this is good. How many times do you leave me?
Let's say 15 minutes.
Oh, cool. So Gkey, pretty cool. Container-based for sure. If you are a software developer, I strongly advise you to just learn Docker. And if you are not a software developer, I strongly advise you to learn Docker too. So you don't have the choice. You need to learn a little bit about Docker if you are working inside an IT department. Cloud Run and Cloud Run function. So everything that we are covered right now are pretty IaaS and PaaS solution, infrastructure and platform as a service with Gkey. For my point of view, is not a platform as a service, is totally a IaaS, PaaS, stuff like that, because it's tricky to handle a GKE cluster. Last demo, and this one is pretty cool. We are just deploying a cloud function. I love cloud function. I love cloud function. I love Cloud Run. I love to do not handle the overhead in terms of infrastructure management. Managed services are really great to use. Depend the use case for sure, but it's pretty cool in terms of cost management. It can scale down to 0. If you don't have any traffic, you are not paying for any kind of stuff. That's pretty cool. So here, we're going to mimic a situation where I'm going to deploy a Python function who is waiting for pub/sub message. And I'm working for a big retailer, so basically I'm going to simulate the fact that I can receive some receipt from my point of sales. Okay? So let's imagine that I'm selling some stuff inside my shop. Each time something is paying my product, these receipts are pushed inside pub/sub, and after that, my function is triggered, and my function, my logic is pretty cool. I just want to, this is not the code source of my function. My function is here. This is the simulator. But my function want to just transform this information and load it inside BigQuery. Each time a message appears, the function is triggered, we have some basic information transformed, and the data is loaded inside a BigQuery dataset. So I can show you in 1 hour how to deploy it with JCloud and the web console. So sorry guys, Terraform apply. I'm going to send you all the code are on my GitHub repository. We're going to give you the access for this repository. This is the public one. It's totally usable as is. You need to just fill some information. Thanks to Gemini, we have a great README for each section inside this big monolith. But yes, you can use it. You can, the next time, ask me some question about the code or about the behavior of whatever the part that we are covering. So pretty cool. I'm creating a cloud function. I'm creating a service account for this cloud function. The service account needs some EAM role. It needs to communicate with the pub/sub topic, and it needs to insert some data in BigQuery. So this service account, I give him a lot of roles. And after the creation of the cloud function, I can show you quickly here the creation of the function. Function is created. I can see here that I have a trigger. The trigger is based on an event type. The event type is a google.cloud.pubsub.topic message published. There is a bunch of event type that you can put here in this place. It can be the creation of an object on the Google storage, for example, and it could be a bunch of stuff inside GCP, and not except inside GCP. This is based on Cloud Event, and basically Cloud Event is a cloud native foundation paradigm, and you can just think about a Slack message, for example. You can trigger the execution of a cloud function. Okay? So this function is ready to go. I'm here, and I'm going to load. I'm going to create, yes, some fake messages. So I'm pushing a 20 message inside my topics. That's cool. And at the end of the script, I can even play a command line, BQ. With the SDK, you have gcloud command, and you have another command with BQ, like BigQuery. And yes, we can run a SQL command with a command line. So BQ is used to just fetch my data. What does it mean? It means that, okay, my published message was okay, but it's already inside my BigQuery dataset and my tables. So basically, I know that that's okay. My function went well. But we need to see the behavior inside the console. Inside GCP, we are not using the real-time word for the log, the metrics in terms of operation. We need to sometimes be cool and just wait a little bit. But yes, so definitely, I don't know if we can see that right now, but I can show you BigQuery, because BigQuery is so fun. I can show quickly the interface of BigQuery. I think BigQuery, we need 1 month to just cover all the services around these magic services. So my data set is a logical object, finally, where I can create some tables, some materialized view, some function, some schedule query, some data preparation, a bunch of stuff, okay? And inside this data set, I have my table, and I can query inside the web console. I can query my table, and I have the result of my transformation. One cool stuff, I can directly click on Looker Studio. This is a free solution inside GCP where I can plug my dataset and my table and do some visualization. That's pretty cool to do so. So, out of the box, if I need some to share some report or to do some report or stuff like that, I already have some preconfined information about the dataset and the data that I'm working with. So this is an example. This is not the real-life solution, Cloud Function, to handle the data transformation. Generally, we are using Dataflow based on Apache Beam. and who can totally handle a bunch of massive data ingestion with streaming and batch purpose. And yes, Cloud Function is pretty cool for... This is the glue service inside GCP. If you don't know how to handle one solution, think about Cloud Run Function. It can work 100% time. So Cloud Run Function, pretty cool. Before Cloud Run Function, the name was Cloud Function. And this is a rebranding and the new way to handle a Cloud Function, Cloud Run. And just here, we can deploy some, with Cloud Run, we can deploy some services. So basically some web application based on container. We can deploy some function. We can deploy Cloud Run jobs, or kind of Cloud Run function, but with a lot much of parameters. And we can deploy also worker pools. For example, if you have big Kafka cluster, you can run your worker Kafka with worker pools. This is a good use case to use worker pools. So this is cool. I can refresh a little bit to see if I have more information about the request count. Yes. Okay, so during the period of activity of managing and handling my messages, we can see the number of instances of my Cloud Run function. We was just one active function. And everything was done with Terraform, but I can see the code here, because under the hood, Terraform is zipping my code source, is pushing it on a bucket, and this is a Cloud Run function. So we have a service with the name is Cloud Build, with kind of CI/CD solution within GCP, and the Cloud Build is taking my zip and is building the Cloud function and deploy it as a service. We can cover that the next time to just see how we can handle the CI/CD with all the stuff. It's a very important part to know how we can just use some CI/CD features to deploy our resources. Any question, guys? Nope? Cool. So this one is a private Cloud function. Just as a quick reminder, we see that we have a public URL. This is not working. Definitely. It requires some authentication. So basically, I can just try to reach this public endpoint, but I need to have the right EAM roles and push it in my HTTP call as a bearer token to just handle the mechanisms of authentication. I think that's cool. Okay for you? Cool. I'm going to destroy all those stuff because this is not my money. And definitely I need to destroy some stuff. Cool. Kaut? Tu veux me partager l'URL? Il y a l'URL ici peut-être? Tu veux que je te... HDMI? Tiens. Yep. Cool.
Just we've talked about quickly kubectl versus gcloud for Kubernetes stuff. In regards to the questions of the exam, one of those things would be hey, you want to create a cluster, blah blah blah. You want to do gcloud cluster create or kubectl, blah 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 create. So again, they try to trick you. Kubectl is to play with your cluster, and gcloud is for the creation, destruction of the cluster itself. But again, you don't need to understand kubectl completely. You need to understand the difference of how do I create the actual infrastructure versus how do I interact with the infrastructure itself. So it could be those questions.
How much knowledge needed for Kubernetes and everything?
Just limited. Honestly, there might be some question about like like what's the name of the resource that's like if you want to expose something that you've deployed, like oh yeah, it's a service, like it's not super deep. There's other certification that are like tailored toward that stack. So do we have everybody? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We have everyone?
Does anyone need more time?
All right, so I'm probably just in front of the camera, but yeah, this is for the A session number 3. So just keep an eye on the question. First one that answers, gets the points. So what are the prerequisites to create a Google Cloud organization? Yes, you can Google it, but there's also right answers. So just make sure you pick the right one. So, all right, like workspace and cloud entity, great. Let's go with next. All right, Saturday number 1. Let's go. 2 out of 15. So how long can you recover delete GCP project before permanent deletion? Yeah, bye-bye. So is it 30 days, 60, like right now, or 7 days?
I guess it's good.
All right, so 30 days. Yeah, so that's good. So, so Mike, number 1. All right, let's continue. So how should a VM application securely access a cloud storage bucket? And yes, those buckets. Yes, hard-coded credential, always the best way to go about things. Don't forget to commit your API keys in GitHub also. All right, service account and VM, perfect. So, all right, Mike, number 1. Let's keep on going. So how can you automatically shut down resources when the budget hits $500? Yes, making it rain. So monitoring auto delete, pub/sub, cloud function, or policies or hard stop UI. So yes, pub/sub and cloud function. We can also use it to restart the VM that Google shut down. We learned that session number 1 or 2. All right. So. Yeah, Mike's on fire. Let's go. So what feature tracks billing costs for specific microservices in one project? Is it separate billing, custom roles, network tag, or resource labels? Yes, bankruptcy if you just don't keep an eye on your budget. It happens. So yeah, so resource labels. All right. Oh. It's getting closer. So where should you export GCP billing data for complex SQL, what is it, like forecasting? Yeah, Cloud SQL, BigQuery, Cloud Spanner, Cloud Storage. So where can we do like SQL stuff in a structured warehousey way? I don't know. Hey, BQ. All right. Hey. We're halfway there. So why will a new BigQuery billing export lag data for the last 3 months? No retroactive export, API disabled, data archive, need admin role. Yeah, that's always been the issue. Just before you go to the next one, basically, yeah, you go to a customer and then, yeah, we want to see insights on our billing data. We've been using Google Cloud for 2 years. Have you done the export? Nope. Well, we're gonna start today. So, but the last 2 years you won't get the insight. So that's what happens. Best practices. So, all right. As a user has folder view and project editor roles. What is their project access? So if I have like folder viewer and project editor, what is my access? Like owner, editor, or viewer? What could he be? Probably none. Yeah, okay. Editor, all right. Let's go. So where do you configure SMS and Slack destination for CPU alerts? That's a tricky one because, well, I mean, if you did the actual, if you followed the track in the skills, it tackles some of that monitoring section. Maybe, I don't know. Cool. We're getting there. Number 10, so a CLI Cloud Run deploy fails saying service not found. What must you do? Cry. No, okay. Link and build a Cloud Run API, maybe. Raise quota. That's because Benjamin just like burned all the money with his demo. Get the admin role or like link billing because maybe there's no billing link to it. No, you need to enable the Cloud Run API service. Perfect. Mike's still number 1. So which hierarchy level groups resources by department below the organization? So you have your organization. So under that, we can like group resources at like projects, folders, billing account, or resources. Right, folders, of course. I've covered them enough. All right, so yeah, Mike is still like on top. So at what hierarchy level do base resources like compute VMs live directly or directly lives, folder, billing account, organization, or within a project? So I hope you know that. Yeah, so all like the project as the credit card, so everything lives within the project. Yes. What allows a top-level security policy to flow down all sub-project? Is it inheritance? Is it isolation? Is it shell scripting or custom roles? Yes. Like super, yes, security guy. Yeah. Love it.
Last one.
It's 14 out of 15. No. Which Google Cloud project attribute can a user successfully change later? We went through this like 3 times. But project name, number, org ID, project ID, we're talking about like project attributes, so I think need to keep the org ID. Yes, project name. Perfect score. And we have like one more? Like Mike. All right, which observability tool collects metric like VM CPU usage for health? Cloud Trace, Cloud Profiler, Cloud Monitoring, or Cloud Logging? Yeah. All right, so let's get our 3 winners. So number 3. Number 2, so D, Farah, and I'm saying like Mike. Is it Mike? Okay, cool. Well, thanks for playing. So the idea is that, well, we have 3 main winners. So yes, congrats everybody. Mike, you're the first up. You can pick one of those 3 books. You have the first dibs. So you pick one. Fatah with the second one. And D for, well, basically the last one. Wanna bring back your stuff for the wrap up. Désactiver?
Ouais, je peux les activer.
Ouais.
T'es désactivé. Yep. It's the end? Okay. Count time is over. Okay. I think it's the count QR code. And then wrap up next. Okay, this is the end for tonight.
a couple of information. Next event is on Saturday, April the 2nd. So again, make sure you RSVP. It's super important to RSVP for the credits. For us, for the credits, if you want to have access to Skills Boost, make sure you RSVP. If you didn't have your access to Skills Boost, contact me. So if it is not the case, it is not normal. So everyone did have the time to go on Skills Boost. I think this is a yes. Look into the workbook. So we have another one today, a workbook on Notebook LLM. I don't remember.
You'll have the QR code.
Yes, in the next slide. Leverage the Google Cloud free tier, GCP credit, and skills to go on. Already said. And go on Discord if you still have questions or if you need help for your certification or your modules if you want. So still the same QR code for Notebook LM1, Module 1. We have one for Module 2. The new one for the Module 3 if you want it.
Just keep in mind that this one actually covers the entire deck that we haven't finished. So if you start, you may have questions where it's like, hey, we didn't talk about that.
Yes.
We'll have talked about it Thursday, same time. So, but it's still gonna be there. It's public, so feel free to use it.
I will share it on Discord just after. Then everything that had been shared with Ben is available on GitHub. So this is the QR code if you want to access to the code, if you want to play it again at home, if you want to deploy Kubernetes tools with super YAML stuff, you're free to do it. I haven't checked the repository is open to anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And as usual, join and follow the GGG Cloud Montreal community on Discord. This is the QR code if you haven't did it yet. The LinkedIn page again. Yes, the session is recorded, so we will push it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, I hope, tomorrow. And then if you want later having a talk with us, don't need to be an expert, but you want to leverage or share with us an experience you have with Google Cloud, you are free to do it. Contact us. We will be super happy to have new presentator or things like that. So that's okay. And this is okay for tonight. Do we have any question?
Can I get the QR code for the Discord?
Yes. This time is it working? Okay. And we're good for tonight. So thank you, everyone. See you on.